and it's a really good movie. My mouth kept dropping at like the right moments.
Really?
Even the opening when you're having this failed exorcism, like right before the title card when your face transformed, I was just like, whoa, wait a minute. that was insane. But I liked the story. That's like, I mean, the horror movie has to have a good story to go along with the madness.
Yeah.
And that's what I absolutely loved about this film. So how did you get involved with this?
Well, Alejandro was working with Barbara and Andy Muschietti of It, and on a previous film that they were doing a remake of, which was called his first film, La Casa de los Fin del Tiempo, House at the End of Time. Mm-hmm. And they had been working on it for a while, and Alejandro was wanting to do something. You know how Hollywood can take forever to do stuff, so he wanted to just make something, and this was a script he had written and he wanted to do. So he asked Barbara, like, do you know anyone who would be good for this character? And he kind of detailed the character, and Barbara suggested me, which was, really kind of her and thoughtful. And then, I think Alejandro was not only vetted by that, but then he saw the movie and saw how he loved my performance in that, and was like, yeah, let's I'd love to work with this guy.
That's awesome. And your character was really great in terms of, you made a mistake and it wasn't your fault because you were trying to save this young woman. Didn't go too well. 18 years later, you're like a recluse and you're facing an old enemy, but you're getting help in the form of Joseph Marcel's father, Michael, who I absolutely love. And I love that I got to see him in a different light, because I'm used to seeing him as Jeffrey, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, I'm used to that. But I knew that he had a background on the stage and, can pull off the serious stuff. And I think you two did an amazing job together. You had that chemistry together. What was it like working with him?
Oh, he was great. He was a sweetheart. There's this funny clip of him that's on the Lionsgate like DVD bonus extras or whatever, where he was filming in Mexico, and they asked him the question about the movie, and he was like, he basically in reference was, he's like, I'm a man who's traveled the world, done theater, and done movies, and now I'm in Mexico City doing this crazy film called The Exorcism of God. So I think for him it was a highlight for his career in a certain way of like, you never know where this career is going to take you and what projects you're going to sign up for. So I think he's I haven't talked to him since the movie's been available, but I think he should be really proud of his work. We had great chemistry. We lived together in this house, and so we got to spend time together. We got to sometimes work together on scenes before we shot them. And then, I admired him previously, so I feel like that naturally led to the admiration of the kind of father-son relationship that we kind of have at times, and then peers, and then back to father-son, and then peers. So yeah, I absolutely loved working with him, and we had really strong chemistry.
That's awesome. Alejandro was a delight to talk to. He was saying like how he was inspired by like some classic horror films, but wanted to put his own spin on things. And I like when a director does that. And
absolutely.
And he did a great job with this. I felt like there were shades. I could tell. It was like, oh my God, the Exorcist right here. And this, especially where she spits out the pea suit, like the green stuff. I'm like, that's the classic right there. And I kept getting involved with it as I kept watching the film. But I really liked was your story where you're looking for redemption and faith, like you're questioning it, and how. And then we got to see you both with the beard and clean shaven.
Right.
And I remember Alejandro was telling me, I think you did the bearded scenes first, and then they shot the clean shaven stuff. Well, that must have been intense to do, like going from one to the other.
I mean, the whole thing was intense. You're shooting in Mexico City, which is a great, vibrant city, but you're still shooting on location on these different sets. You're surrounded by mostly a Latin cast and crew, so they're speaking Spanish around you all the time. I mean, it was intense 24/7 for so many different reasons. And then me having to speak Spanish in these crazy scenes, or Latin in some of these scenes. You know, I don't know Latin, I'm not familiar with it, but to speak it in such heightened situations was really exciting. And I feel like, you know, that's what's gonna interest people to watch this movie. Is these scenes are crazy. There's scenes, multiple scenes that are original, that have never been seen before, and not only in the horror genre but in any film. And I feel like that's really exciting, and I feel like it's wrapped in a really good story, like you said, and it has large themes that are important to people, that people talk about after the movie. So I feel like, you know, this movie is like a real solid, massive, I don't know, steak dinner or something, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And what I really liked is, I was telling Alejandro, the special effects were amazing in this.
Yeah.
And it was quite surprising that when he told me that the actress in the beginning of the movie who you tried to save is the same actress under makeup when you see her 18 years later. He's like, yeah, we just put her under, you know, we made her look older. But I'm like, really? I'm like, oh, I was so like shocked that it was played by the same actress. But I don't know why I was surprised at that, but it looked like it was two different women completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the makeup was incredible. The practical makeup, which just basically means that there's no special effects, it's just done by hand, was masterfully done.
Yeah,
And that was another smart thing Alejandro did, is he kept making sure that all the money was put into things that made the film more real, and less 3D-ish, or less special
CGI,
effects.
CGI effects, because
he put the money in what people would connect with.
exactly, yeah, because we were talking about how I don't know how CGI is so expensive these days, and you can just do it for practical, you know, you can just do it your own way with practical effects. And I think I believe practical effects are better because it makes it more realistic.
Totally.
You know, I totally, you know, I just feel like, why would you pay 25 million just to remove someone's mustache digitally, rather than in a big budget film where you could just use that and just made something realistically.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite scene that you shot besides the movie? If there was a scene that you felt like you did like your all-time like best work, if you had to choose one, what would it be?
Oh man. You know, I would just say I gave it everything on the final scene.
Mhm.
You know, it was a battle. It's a battle between heaven and hell, God and the devil, whatever you want to call it. And I feel like I just gave everything I could. At times I even lost my voice, which I think, you know, which I think actually worked for the character, and worked for the scene. Because, you know, if you're fighting for your life, you're fighting with everything you have. And, you know, this person is not someone who is a well-trained actor who knows how to hold and keep their voice perfect. He's someone who's fighting for his life, and he doesn't even think about those things. He's just fighting the best he can to keep this demon from taking him, you know.
Yeah, that's dedication right there. I always talk to actors who say, like, you know, they're willing to risk everything. You know, they'll get injured on sets, or, you know, and people, you know, and I'm like, you know, that's dedication. You're just getting it out there. You're doing the best you can. But I have to agree, I think you gave it all to that. And in the flashback scene where it's teased little by little until we see what the unspeakable act was, I was just like floored.
Yeah,
that scene was insane. I was like, oh my God, that's what happened.
Yeah, it's a great. Yeah, and I love the way he decided to kind of put it together with, you know, and giving three-quarters of it, and then piecing it for the audience to slowly put the thoughts to pieces together. I thought that was great use of editing.
Yeah, to make him think what exactly happened, like after.
Yeah, and
like,
to keep that.
To tease it, and then finally reveal it, and then like, whoa, like your mouth drops. I think that helped elevate the film.
Yeah, and I love that, you know, like I feel like the reveals are strong, so they warrant being suspended, so I feel like everything holds in the movie in a really palpable, visceral way that I think people are excited about and resonate with, and they're like, ooh, wow, they feel things. And
it punches you in the gut. It
yeah,
literally did. It did to me. It like the teases were the jabs, and then the punch to the gut was the reveal, and I'm like, ow, But
that's
yeah,
all.
excellent. Excellent movie overall. So what is next for you that you can talk about after this?
Well, I have a few things, but I can't talk about them actually,
Okay.
because nothing's finalized. But like what happened is during the pandemic, I was really clear that I wanted to work more and more with people I care about, people that I call almost deep friends or family. So I've been focused on that, and I continue to have auditions for different projects. I did have a job on. I was excited to go do a really cool role on FBI International, but unfortunately, I got COVID. so,
Oh man.
so I couldn't do it. That was like 6 weeks ago. I was really bummed.
Oh.
Because that was a really interesting role. But there's some good things coming, and I'm excited about some of these projects. They're with previous directors that I've already worked with, including, and I'll mention one. His name's Brian DeCubelis. He did the Manhattan Night movie with Adrian Brody.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been talking about working together on some things. So hopefully all of it will come together in the near future.
Yeah, and I'm hoping this film gets you like more roles, like more lead roles, because you did such a great job with this one.
Oh, thank you, man.
I think this had to be like one of your best roles, in my opinion. Like, I mean, you do a lot of supporting roles, but taking the lead here, I mean, that's a big step, and I feel like you did a great job, and everyone needs to see this movie, because this was, I mean, I know a lot of people are out there seeing probably, the big stuff now, but
Totally.
they need to see indie films for their originality and creative originality. And this was one of the best ones I've seen this year so far. And you were just like, so everyone's got to check out The Exorcism of God. And I know from that title, people mouths are like, what? And I'm like, yeah, just trust me. You're going to want to see this. This is one of the best horror films I've seen this year.
Yeah.
And it's all because you pulled off one of the, like, an excellent performance in it.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah. I don't know, but I hope this movie ends up being like a horror classic in some certain way. I don't know if or at least an underground cult classic or something, because it's not a huge studio movie. So, you're always fighting against that, but who the hell knows?
Well, I will say with the horror community, it's chances that's going to happen, because they really love their indie horror films a lot more than the big budget ones. I've noticed a lot of people on social media, they talk more about indie films than the big stuff. Like, they talk about the big stuff briefly, but once it comes to indie stuff like this film, they're gonna not stop talking about it. So
I hope this has a long shelf life.
Yeah. So everyone, tomorrow is the date. Check out The Exorcism of God. Check out Will. He's awesome in this movie as the lead role of Father Peter. And I to be honest with you, I'd love to see a sequel to this. I would love to see you come back as Father Peter, and I'm hoping that's going to be the case if everyone checks this out. So everyone, go see it in theaters, see it on demand, see it in digital. Do what you got to do to see The Exorcism of God. If you can't go see a big movie, then this is the movie to check out this weekend. And Will, thank you so much again for taking the time to talk about it.
Good. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you, and thanks for all your love of horror films and great films in general. We need more people like you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for saying that. That means a lot.
Yeah,
you take care, and I hope you stay safe. I'm glad you're feeling better, and you take care.
You too, man. Have a good week.
All right, you too.